Well, folks, it's looking like the mainstream media can no longer ignore that Donald Trump definitely is not the same Donald Trump from 2016. For the last 3.5 to 4 years, they have been so hard on Joe Biden, and every misspeak Biden made, the media pounced on it. Every time he paused to gather his thoughts before answering a question, they would hook those together as reels and show them to us and say that Joe Biden was in decline. And that was something that was across the board in mainstream media. That wasn't just like it was Fox News or Newsmax doing that. That was pretty much everybody who was saying that Joe Biden wasn't fit to lead. We've been pointing out for a long time the gaffes and the slip-ups that Donald Trump has been having. And it's just now looks like it's starting to creep into the mainstream a little bit, because it's getting to the point now that as much as they want to try to sweep it under the rug, it's damn near impossible, especially considering the fact that he went out and stood on a stage for over 30 minutes, close to 40 minutes, just swaying back and forth to music. I wished I was making this up. I wish this was just some kind of brilliant satirical skit that we were watching, we could all have a laugh at. But no, folks, this is real life. This guy wants to be the leader of the free world again. I want to show you this clip here where he's talking with Kristi Noem, the puppy killer. And he tells her that they will end and close with some music. And within just a few minutes, he's already forgot what he's going to say. And she reminds him that he wanted to close with music. Take a look.
We'll listen to a couple of songs if you want, and that's okay with me. I like it. So we'll do that. We'll do those songs that we had mentioned, Justin. And if Justin doesn't get it right, he gets fired. Full factory. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Yep. Well, sir, do you want to play your song and then greet a few people, or do you want to? Well, you had said you wanted to close with a specific song.
Okay.
So then it gets worse. He actually says out loud, "Who wants to hear any questions? Let's just listen to music." Take a look.
Let's not do any more questions. Let's just listen to music. Let's make it into a music. Who the hell wants to hear questions, right? Isn't that beautiful, though? It's so beautiful. And we played that in Butler, Pennsylvania. We had a moment of silence, and then we had the bells of Notre Dame go off, and then we had a great opera singer, Christopher, who was so incredible, and a great, great opera singer.
You know, folks, I know for a fact that if you and me went to see Kamala Harris and Tim Walz speak, and we had the opportunity to ask them questions, and they took 2 questions and then said, "Who wants to hear us answer questions? Let's just dance." And they danced for close to 40 minutes. I guarantee you and me would get up and walk out. And we would be like, what in the world are we doing? Why are these people the front runners? Why are they at the top of our ticket? That's what reasonable people would say. And if Joe Biden had have stood there and swayed to music for that long of a period of time, you know the mainstream media would have had an absolute field day. They crucified him over a slow debate performance. And they're just now starting to catch wind of this, and they're just now starting to point it out. I want you to take a look at this next clip from CNN. This is Trump's former press secretary. They can't deny it anymore. Take a look.
Videos of Trump in 2016 compared to videos today. If you watch one of his rallies, it's abundantly clear to me that he's lost his fastball a bit. I mean, no one would ever argue that he was the most eloquent speaker. Let me be clear. But it does appear that he is meandering and rambling more often, and he's having obvious moments of confusion. I mean, he confused Nancy Pelosi and Nikki Haley not too long ago. And so I think that just shows that they're a little nervous then to put him in these settings where maybe he could have another moment like that. So that's why they turned down the 60 Minutes interview. He lost the first debate. They don't want him to do a second debate. They're not releasing his medical records. Who knows why?
Yeah, the reason why that Donald Trump has been canceling all these interviews is because the campaign doesn't want to run the risk of him going out there and making a complete and total fool of himself again. They don't want him debating Kamala this close to the election because they know he lost the last one, and he's too unhinged and off the rails to sit down for an interview or take questions. So this entire time, MAGA has been saying to us that Joe Biden wasn't fit, and how can he be fit to lead if he can't even complete a sentence? Meanwhile, that's their guy. Meanwhile, that's the guy they're backing. And here he is. Can anyone out there make sense of what this is coming out of his mouth? Take a look.
Like this, so it's coming down, down, down. And I said, oh, man, it's going to be terrible. It's going to hit the gantry or whatever they call it. It's going to hit it. It's going to knock it over Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's going to knock it over. It's going to knock it on its ass like you knock your competitors on their ass, Marjorie. Right? And she does. She is highly respected, let me tell you. Smart. So it's coming down, and I didn't like the angle. I said, come on, baby. And then all of a sudden, you see that fire pouring from the right side. It straightens up. Boom. I mean, the thing. And I said, that was amazing. And I forgot the guy that was on the phone. He was, you know, they have a certain respect. We're leading everybody, so they hold on forever. You know, they would have held on for Doug. They would have held on for an hour, but I just totally forgot because I've never said anything like this. So Elon, I said, Elon, could you do me a favor? Starlink.
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine as to what that was. I don't know, and I don't even think he knew. And I don't understand how in the world people can sit there in the audience and watch that and cheer it on and think it's a good idea and think that that guy would be fit to serve. But I am with Tim Walz 100% on what he says on this next clip. This should be funny. It should just be something we're laughing at. But we can't laugh at it, folks, because this guy wants to be president again. Take a look at this clip.
Last night, we were having a town hall, and he got asked about health care and child care and didn't answer those. And then he spent 30 minutes standing on stage listening to music in front of this. So I'm going to be the first to say this. It is pretty funny stuff if he didn't want to be president of the United States. It's pretty funny stuff if he weren't going to try and deny women their reproductive rights. It's pretty funny stuff if he wasn't going to try and rip health care away from all of us with the ACA, or if he wasn't threatening us in different ways. So look.
Yeah, if this was a skit from SNL or Mr. Show came back and did a reunion and Bob and David did some kind of skit like this, we would all be laughing it up and it would be funny. And I have saw so many funny remakes of this with people playing songs behind him while he's standing there. And yes, it's funny, and yes, I've had a good laugh at some of it, but the reason why that none of us should laugh too hard is because the seriousness of this issue is this guy wants to be our leader again. Think about that. Let this one really sink in. But I like the way that Kamala Harris just comes in here with the truth, and that is he's unfit for office. Take a look.
Been a lot of recent questions based on an event he did recently. He's played music for about 30 minutes straight. Just questions about his mental fitness for office at this point. Do you think Donald Trump needs to take a cognitive test?
Well, I'm going to say what I've said publicly and will say many times based on my observations, and I think the observations of many. Donald Trump is increasingly unstable, and as has been said by the people who have worked closely with him, even when he was president, he's unfit to be president of the United States.
And folks, I'd just like to say this. I have never had a problem with Joe Biden's age. I've never had a problem with Joe Biden's stutter, and I've always said here on the channel that I will sit back and I will wait for Joe Biden to think about what it was he was going to say next, and I will listen because I know that Joe Biden is going to come out with a compassionate answer. I know that Joe Biden is on the side with democracy. I know that Joe Biden wants to see this country moving forward and wants to see us doing better. So it's not about someone's slips or their goof-ups or their gaffes or their age that's the problem here. It's that Donald Trump has spent all this time and MAGA has spent all this time absolutely crucifying Joe Biden for this. And now that it's right out in the open, right in front of their faces, what's happening with Donald Trump, they won't admit it. They won't come clean and go, you know what, this ain't the same guy in 2016. I can sit here and say to you, and I have no shame saying it, and I guarantee you Joe Biden would sit beside me in this chair and say, hey, yeah, Brando's right. I'm not the same guy that I was when I debated Paul Ryan all those years ago. That's not me anymore. But they can't look back at clips of Trump in 2016 and they can't tell the drastic difference in this guy. This is a very serious issue, and yeah, we've all had some good laughs at it. But folks, you got to realize that if he were to be reelected, this unhinged dude with all these problems would have no guardrails. And he would have someone there like J.D. Vance who would do his bidding on whatever he wanted to do. And we would be one heartbeat away from having J.D. Vance as our president. So I think it's time that the media doubles down on this one. I really do. I think this is their moment because we sat and watched them crucify Joe Biden, and a lot of times I don't think it was fair the way they went about it. You have got Donald Trump right in front of you with this. It should be drilled on every station out there. Everyone should be talking about it, and he should absolutely have to release his medical records and quit doing all this talking about his test and how he aces them and passes them, because none of us are buying it. If you would stand there and sway the music for 39 minutes or however long it was, if you would stand there and do that instead of taking questions. This is the guy that criticized Obama for playing golf. This is the guy that criticized Biden for going to the beach. And yet he stands there. Who wants to hear questions? Who wants to stand there and watch him sway to music? Who in their right mind would want that? I wouldn't want to see any politician do that, okay? I voted today for Kamala Harris. I early voted for the first time in my life. I think she's great. I think she's terrific. I don't want to go watch her dance for 40 minutes. I would like to hear her talk about her vision for this country, and she's been doing so while Trump's been out there engaging in all this ridiculous rhetoric. And to tell you the truth, folks, I'll just close it on this note. Yeah, he's clearly declining. Yeah, he's not the same guy he was in 2016, but he has always been a terrible leader, and he's always been a terrible human being. And I just find it like, okay, now it's like, oh, well, he's in decline, he's getting old. No, he has always been this way. This guy has been this way since we were all kids growing up. He's always been a shady businessman. He's always been out for himself. It just so happens now he's got to the age where people slip and no one can deny it. But he's always been this way, and I'm not going to use this as a reason to give him a pass. Just because he's getting worse in his old age, it does not give him a pass for the kind of businessman he was, for the kind of president he was, and for the fact that he sicked a mob on the U.S. Capitol because he wasn't man enough to accept the results of an election. And I think it's I really feel that it's an insult to people who truly do have cognitive issues to just lay it all over there and say, that's what this must be. No, this guy's always been unhinged. He's always been off the rails. He's just gotten worse here lately. But folks, I want to thank you guys so much for subscribing here on the channel and supporting what it is that I do. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And I thank you so much. And we'll keep moving forward in this election. And hopefully the day will come when we don't remember Donald Trump. I don't know if that'll ever happen. But I look forward to the day when somebody mentions his name and I go, oh, yeah, yeah, we haven't talked about that in a while. That's the day I'm longing for.